It's cooler than this time last year.
Right.
Much
All right.
cooler.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, what do you got? No, so no, it was a good day. So just kind of what we did out there. We got out. I think we finished up a few minutes ago. It's probably three hours total, 3.5 as far as time out there with the pre-practice individual stuff. So good long scrimmage, right at 160 plays total. This time last year, I think we were shooting for 140, and I think we ended up, the first scrimmage getting around 126 or 129. I can't even remember exactly. We're shooting for 140, and that's what we got last year. So even at that 126, 125 mark this year, there was still guys were still moving around really good, fresh, staying off the ground, playing the game the right way. So really that goes back to the depth that we're able to we've been able to acquire and build over the last year, because the threes were able to get out there, and they were over 30, 35 plays the third group was able to get today. And we wanted to see if we could get that many with that group, because there's a lot of guys in that group that we're looking to see if they can help us this year. Right? And that's what camp's for, to see what young guys can go out and help play winning football. So that was good to see those guys be able to get out there and have some success and some sustained drives on both sides. A lot of things we got to fix, a lot of things to clean up. We went into this talking in terms of this isn't a dress rehearsal. This is game day. You got to prepare yourself going into it as if it's game day, and then we'll hit a hard reset tomorrow and go back into camp preparation. Building our football team mode. But a lot of things we have to get better at. A lot of things we have to work on. I think now's the point in camp where the guys know what to do. It comes down to the details, the techniques, the alignments. Getting the proper stances and alignments. Before the snap, being able to play, whether it was a huddle play or a tempo play, whatever it may be. So, but I think the best thing that we saw out there today, besides coming out relatively injury-free, like any scrimmage, you're going to have some bumps and bruises. But to see the flow of the scrimmage really go back and forth. There was not a dominant on one side of the ball or the other, and that's what you look for. You want it to be. You don't want it to be one-sided. Right? You want it to have flow back and forth. And both sides of the ball. If you talk to Tooch or Buster, I'm sure they're both going to tell you, well, the only reason the other side had success was because of mistakes, and that's what it's about. It's about being honest with yourself. Being able to self-assess and challenge everybody to look themselves in the mirror. It starts with me, starts with the coordinators, starts with then the position coaches and the players. And if we can come in and have a real hard, tell the truth day tomorrow, we have a chance to get better this week. But it did. It flowed back and forth in the first half when we were going sustained drives. Really from the minus 20-yard line. I think it was 4 touchdowns, 5 3-and-outs, and a 52-yard field goal that had leg on it to go a mile, but defense got in and got a hand on it. So and threw it off. So you see right there just the flow back and forth that both sides had. All right, and really when it comes down to it, if you look at why there wasn't success, it's things we did ourselves. Whether it was an alignment, whether it was an assignment based on an adjustment. All right, we've got to make sure we get those things done so we can have success both ways. Went into a third down scrimmage. I really wanted to see where we were at as far as from a protection standpoint, from an improved pass rush standpoint, from a coverage standpoint, receivers being able to get open, cover on the back end. In third group, I think they were 67% efficient. The offense was. Second group was 50-50. Just like I said, you're seeing balance in both things. But if you look at the first group, defense was 100% efficient. Defense was 8 for 8 in big plays against the first offense. So you want to talk about improvement in a football team. Now we've got to look at that offensively and see why that was. Okay, but we've got some. We've improved ourselves depth-wise and personnel-wise on the defensive front. Schematically, some of the things that we do are can serve. We're not trying to game plan each other. We're not trying to scheme up either side of the football. So, and there's some challenging things there, whether it be from a coverage standpoint or front mechanic standpoint. But I think the biggest improvement is when the personnel, and to see those guys be able to line up and individually rush the passer in a one-on-one situation. That's what we're looking for. You can scheme all the blitzes and stunts and movements all you want, but it comes down to guys' ability to line up and win a one-on-one pass rush, and we were able to do that consistently today. Flip the other side, we got to consistently be able to to block one-on-one in the pass protection. So it's not a fault of one side or the other. It's an improvement, I believe, in the defensive side. And then some things where we need to possibly help a guy or chip a guy. And that's part of football. Had 2 drives in the red area plus territory scrimmage part of it. Well, that's where last year we almost looked at each other and said, all right, we got to kill this thing. And we were still rolling good. And I think 2 drives, 2 touchdowns there. So you should go from a third down period where the first group, the first group in offense didn't have success. The first group defense did. All right, well, now you flip it around the other way in the next period. All right, well, they adjusted. They didn't let one thing carry over to another. And that's what we talk about all the time is playing the next play. No scoreboard, play the next play. That was encouraging to see that out of the guys today, but it was also encouraging to see the way the coaches coached the guys. All right, when they came off the field, coached the guys in between the plays, got the play calls in. Pretty clean from an offensive and defensive standpoint organizationally. A few things we had to clean up here and there, but I thought for the first day scrimmage, there was a lot of carryover from the springtime as far as the organization of the staff, and that was encouraging to see. As far as individuals out there, I thought Christian Leary had a good day. Leo, man, it was so good to see him. He had a good day out there. Had a really good touch. Had a nice touchdown. Had a couple of really big long third down catches, hard catches. Might have been 2 long ones. And then, we don't need to be in those long third down situations. All right, but he came up and converted, and that's what you look for. One of them was on a 2-minute drive, one of them was in the red area. So I thought Leo had a really good day. Man, I was really, really excited and proud of him. Really proud of him of what he's been through and how he's come, just continually the resiliency that he's shown to come back and be out there with us and be a big factor for us. The tight end group had a big day. You talk about, from a receiving standpoint, but there's a lot of things we got to improve from every other facet of the game too. But Jackson Halls had a really really impressive touchdown in the red area. He's like a monster truck, big thick, big body guy with good balance. Harp had I think 4 catches and a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken, Mike. 4 catches and a touchdown out there, sure-handed, catches everything that comes in sight. The details are what Harp's got to work on, just understanding the all the different alignments and the motion, the alignments, and all the things that happen before the snap. Because once the ball's snapped, he's even if he's not precisely running the right route or whatnot, he's a competitor now. It must run in his blood, or I don't know. So it was good to see that, and then. Really big day for Brent Seither. I thought see Brett have 2 touchdowns today. Had a really good day catching the football and the way he played out there. So really, really proud of Brett. And that's what he wanted to do, and he went out and did it. So quarterbacks, I thought quarterbacks did a good job. A lot of different looks that the first team offense is seeing versus the first defense. And then some of those packages start to diminish a little bit just because of personnel that you have when you get to the other groups, but. Haynes had a solid day out there with the first group. Was able to deliver the ball, put it where it needs to be, manage the offense. We had crowd noise at times in different areas to start to simulate crowd noise in games with the helmet communication. We wanted to make sure we've worked through all those mechanics. Zach's had a really good camp so far and had a really good day today again. So it's good to see his improvement and just the consistency that he's showing every day. And that's what we want, is the consistency out of everyone on the team. And then the young quarterbacks, got in there today and did a really good job. So all in all, there's a lot of things we have to work on. We have to be honest with ourselves. We have to develop the consistency. Everyone on the team played today. Everyone was able to get in there and play. So now we can really have a true evaluation of who we are and the personnel on our football team. And not just who's going to help us on offense and defense, but who's going to help us on special teams. And that's where a lot of those young guys are going to be factors until they really start to, settle into the offensive and defensive schemes. Hopefully we've improved ourselves from a personnel when it comes to the special teams part. But everyone got to play. Watch the tape tonight, see where we're at, and come back and get ready to go tomorrow. So.
Do you maybe change your philosophy now that your roster's a little bit deeper in terms of how many guys you want to have in rotations on offense and defense? I know Tooch wants to play a lot of guys on defense, but does it maybe change how you look at even camp right now with how many guys you want to get ready for game 1?
I think it depends on the position. defense is different than offense. If you have the luxury to do it on the defensive line, yes, you want to do it. I mean, you don't want to sit there and look at the end of the game and D tackles had 60, 65 plays. It's not healthy. It's not a winning formula. The stress on those guys and the effort they have to play with and the effort we expect them to play with every play. All right, and Jess holds those guys to a high standard, and no different than anybody else. So, be able to get multiple waves of guys coming in, but that also rises. You got to be sharp on substitutions. All right, you got to know when to. All right, you got to know when you have the packages ready to go. So coming on, coming off, and practice it through the week. And some of the things that might have been little glitches throughout the week this week, we were hard on it this week during the when we come off the field, and some of those things got cleaned up. But I think Tooch has a great feel of the game, a great feel of calling the game. When personnel's coming in and out, very calm. You flip it on. I'm flipping back and forth, and you get on the defensive headset. No one's talking. There's no craziness going on. People aren't losing their minds, and he's got control. He's got poise. And does a really good job calling a football game. He's been very impressed with him now. This is what 2 + 3 the spring game, 3, 4. This is the 4th time really hearing him call a game. And been impressed with not just him, but the standard he holds his entire staff to on how they operate on game day. So, but we want to play as many guys as we're able to play, and that's our job. Our job is to play the best guys. Whether you're a freshman, whether you're a senior, it doesn't matter. Once the guy's ready to play, all right, and I don't believe in waiting your turn. I believe in going out and practicing as hard as you can every day to put yourself in a position to be the best one out there. If you're fortunate enough to have, 60 tackles, 60 ends, it's a luxury, right? 3 linebackers, 4 linebackers, all right? Those are luxuries because now you got guys you can package up in different with different packages by personnel, D&D, things like that, situations.
You had some guys join since the spring, whether it's freshmen or transfers, that got to go out there and do their first scrimmage today that didn't do it then. How did they handle themselves today?
Yeah, who do you want to hear about? You tell me.
Defensive line guys.
Which ones?
Thomas Gore.
There you go. We're better. We're deeper. We're better. It allows the guys that have been here that have played a bunch of reps to play more, efficient reps, I guess is the best way to say it. And you don't want to count your chickens before they hatch. We still have a lot of camp to go, but like I said, I feel like we've improved our pass rush and ability to stop the run with the front.
You lost your right guard, Skaggs, after the end of last season.
He graduated. I didn't lose him. I know what he said.
Yeah.
He's a big guy to lose now.
Yeah, he's easy to see for sure. What are you seeing from the competition there? And has Rutledge got back to the point where he can start competing now?
Yeah, I mean, he took every rep at first team guard today. He's a throwback. He is a throwback O lineman. Nasty. Plays the game in way the old heads, wanted that position to be played, and it's contagious. The toughness he plays with, the mentality he plays with. He's able to, one-on-one move a man, to get movement. Can anchor and pass pro, all the things you look for in a guard. Been really pleased with him this camp, not just with his performance, but the mentality that he's brought to that group. Going into this scrimmage, Rob, we said that we'll really look hard at the depth chart tomorrow, and we'll really set it for the next week. We wanted to see guys play today. I wanted to see a lot of guys play. I wasn't as concerned with who was with the 1s or the 2s or the 3s or right side, left side. Where they were at, that didn't matter to me as much today. We're building, you're building that versatility that you have to have in the group, especially up front on the O-line. So a lot of guys played different positions, to find out who are the, not just the top 5, but who's 6, who's 7, who's 8, who are the 8 guys, that we can go in and play with, who's 9, 10 that we're still working to develop, over the next weeks, months, that'll be ready to play come October. So by next Saturday, we'll have a little better feel for who's settled into what spots right now. Right now, we're trying to get a lot of them reps, but been very impressed with Keelan so far.
How has recruiting been going?
It's part of this everyday thing. I mean, there's when you come and when you're a college football coach, you're not just a coach, you're a recruiter. All right, we coach and recruit. All right, you can't not do one day and do something the whole one day. So, and then here at Georgia Tech, we have a responsibility to our guys on the team to make sure they're doing right, and we're heavy in the academics that they do in the school, and that's been reflected with how they've done academically. So it's really three hats you wear here. I mean, you're a little bit of a academic advisor with these guys and academic mentor with them. And it's just to aid the academic staff that we have and that do such a good job. And then it's coach and recruiter, and you can't take one day off from any of them. So yeah, we've been doing all of them a lot, and there's only so many hours in the day. So, but we're getting it all in, and I think been happy, very happy with the staff, very happy with the staff, very happy with the coaching staff, the support staff that's involved. We've got a good group of people here, men and women.
I wanted to ask about the running backs today, and also just kind of how Maddox is coming along with his rehab. It seems like he's ahead of schedule, at least, just being out and able to run around.
Yeah, I think he's at 9.5 months now from his injury, but we want to be certain with him, with Trey, and make sure that he's fully ready to go when he goes back out there. He's a beast now. I mean, you're talking a 6'2", 210, 15-pound running back that does everything right for a freshman. I mean, this kid sits in the front row. He takes every single note of everything. He's early. The way he works, the focus he has every single day. You would not believe the way he carries himself that he's a freshman. So that's only going to add to his ability to come back from a mental standpoint after the physical part as well. So really excited about him, and hopefully we can get more and more as the weeks go on. Getting him involved in things. The other guys, we know Jamal's a good football player, very versatile. Today was the day to be able to see some of the other guys. I thought Scooter had a good job, did a good job today. Had some hard carries. Evan Dickens had some really nice carries today. But it's overall, it's what they have to do. I don't think we had one ball on the ground we recovered back. I don't know if the ground calls it or not. I have to look at the film and see. But for the most part, I think we did a good job of holding on to the football. All right, and then the big part of it running back, though. I mean, I know they're a running back. They ought to call them a blocking back because they have to understand pass protections. All right, and that's the hardest thing for a young guy to do. All right, that's the hardest thing for young guys to understand those protections. And look, Evan's one of the most conscientious, hard-working, studying guys in the world. But until you get out, and there's only so many live reps you can get until you get the live reps. And those guys need to continue to get more and more, to see them, to see the pictures. All right, the technique that goes along with it, because that's just as important as carrying the football. Because if we just talked about the part of running the football, I mean, they had a very productive day. Good balance. And that was the thing I know Evan's been working on, and the balance, on some of his things. And I thought he showed up today doing some of that. And then, like I said, Scooter is, some really good hard runs. He's a good inside runner. Got to continue to work on his pad level. And like all the freshmen, continue to learn, the different things that go on all before the snap.
Can you sort of explain the speaker series that you've been doing, kind of how you go about finding some of these folks and why you want to?
It's been really the first week of the speaker has been really, really cool. So Monday night, Brandon Marshall spoke to the team. Guy played for us at UCF many years ago. What? That's why you coach. At the end of the day, that's why we all coach, is to see these guys come back. It's been, 20 years, 20 years since that. But to see him, to see the obstacles that he's overcome in his own life, to be able to get in front of our guys and talk about those things, to talk about the challenges, he could have taught for 5 hours, and our kids would have been dialed in. I mean, just they kept asking questions, and so he talked. One of the things that stuck out that Brandon said, I keep wanting to say B. Marsh. Brandon said, talk about success and failure they're the same. They're both distractions. Man, you talk about hitting home to our team, all right? Because that's what we're trying to do right now. We're trying to build a consistent football team, all right? You start with learning how not to lose, and you start learning how to win. Well, now you got to learn how to win consistently, okay? Well, to understand that and to hear him say that, and you're talking about one of the best ever. You're talking 13,000 career NFL receiving yards. But the obstacles he's overcome, and then the challenge he's had, and his talk about mental health, and what he does to control his emotions every day, and not being an emotional person, and then the success he's having now with his companies, and what he's doing as an entrepreneur. So proud of him. So good to see him there. And then Brian Kite came in on Wednesday. Brian's a guy that does a lot of things with the mental coaching part of the game. Works with a lot of different people. Works with us throughout the entire year. But to talk to the team and put things in a way that the team can understand. Brian talked, the thing I think probably that stuck the most, after the meeting, every single quarterback came right up and said, hey, can we get those slides in the recording? We want to watch that. We want to see it again. Have that type of impact on it. And, talked about, the how do you say it? When you're talking about stacking days, in building something, all right, the discipline to be able to stick with something, but yet the urgency to be able to do it every single day as hard as you can. Just the way he explained it, it's even hard for me to explain, but we all took the message. Because you have to go out every single day in a practice and give everything you possibly have, all right, with a sense of urgency, but yet you have to be patient over the course of time and not get frustrated and just say, well, I'm not there yet, and stop. So be able to talk about the discipline that it takes to do those, and the discipline with other things. I thought he hit home. And then last night, we had two Marines come in. We had a master sergeant and a major from the U.S. Marine Corps. Thomas Fisher and Batro Buzajko. He was a former Bosnian refugee who came to the United States, got into the military. But just to hear them talk about grit and toughness and focus, some guys, you get sore feet or a little cut here or there, and they're talking about trekking 15 miles with 120 pounds on their back and sitting in a corner with 7 other people for 48 hours, for one chance to do something. So all of them have great messages. All of the messages really centralized back around the things we talk about as a program, but they have different ways of saying it. So sometimes when you have somebody else come in and tell that story, you never know who in the room is going to be affected by someone different. And it might be somebody you don't think will. And to have those guys come in and really be telling their stories and giving very insightful information to the team. But it's really the same stuff we say all the time, but it's a little bit different. It's someone else saying it, so the effect sometimes becomes a little bit greater.
You've developed some good quality depth along the offensive line. When you send out your field goal team, having that quality depth, does that make your guys up front a stronger group than maybe it has been in the past?
Say that again now.
The quality depth you're developing on the offensive line, can you use that depth to strengthen your kicker protection on field goals?
Well, my thing is, if you're a first-team offensive lineman, it means you're probably better than the guy behind the second team whenever it comes. So I don't look at putting second-team guys out. I want the starters out there. If they're starters, they're starters for a reason on the O-line. If they can't go out there and protect for the field goal, they're not going to be starters on the O-line. All right. Now, are there some guys that are younger that might not have clicked a little bit, everything offensively, that are talented, that can help us? Yeah. All right, but, it's not the YMCA. All right. We're going to put our best people on the field. We're going to put them in position, because when we're kicking for points. When you're kicking for points and you're trying to score points, points are to win.
Sure. When you look at your new defensive line and the job that Kyle and Jess have done with that group and the transformation even maybe since the spring, how do you feel like the progress is coming there? And are you more confident now than you were maybe at the end of spring with the way the group's looking, that you're getting closer to what you want to get to?
Yeah, I've been very confident in Pope and Jess as coaches and as teachers. I think that's the best compliment you can say about those guys. They are unbelievable teachers. They complement each other so well. Just tremendous compliment to each other with what they bring to the table. Are we in a different place than we were at the end of spring? Yeah. much so. A lot of it's personnel driven. It's also the improvement over the summer these guys have made that we're here. But look, it's not necessarily. There's a lot of good coaches out there, and they have a lot of good schemes, and they don't go to bowl games. So, it's about the talent and the type of culture that you build in each individual room as a coach. And I think both those guys have done a tremendous job of that. And now you turn the tape on now, and neither one of those guys will have a smile on their face. But that's what it's about. The expectation is to do things right. All right. So as a coach, all we are is teachers. Right. We're teachers, and teaching is the ability to inspire learning. Right. We have to get the guys to learn what to do and to do it consistently over time. Right. And that's what those guys do a great job of. So, to think we're going to come in and show guys tomorrow everything they did well, that's not the case. Right. The expectation is to do things well, to do things the right way. All right. Our job as teachers is to show them what they didn't do right, and get those things fixed. And that's what they do a great job of. So I've been very pleased with those two guys. All right, I'm super glad I got both those guys here riding next to me.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Go Jackets.